My first book ended up being a I'm not going to say the number, six-figure book deal for a first-time publisher. And I just hope that gives people hope to never compromise your soul, to never compromise your integrity, to never compromise what God tells you, to never compromise your truth for money, for fame, for external success, because all of that will fade.
Welcome everybody back to another very special episode of Connection is Magic. Today we have a wonderful man in the house, Kute Blackson. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You're reporting live from LA, right? You're a local?
Yes, Los Angeles.
We're gonna get to that in a little bit because I heard you share about you manifested, you visualized LA and all the different streets in LA, and remember Santa Monica and downtown and Koreatown, and that was cool to hear you talk about that. But we'll save that for a little later in the interview.
Cool.
I would like to start actually when I was in a transition, Kute. I was at rock bottom. I left LA and I went to go live with my family back in Detroit. And I was listening to one of your interviews with Jack Canfield, the Chicken Soup for the Soul guy. Remember?
Yeah.
And he talked about I think it was 144 rejections. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. And you said, most people would have given up after 3 rejections, right? So I thought that would be a fantastic place for us to start the interview. Why is it so difficult for us to simply let go of a closed door and pick ourselves back up and go on to there's thousands and thousands of more doors, right? So why is it so challenging, do you think, for us to just simply go knock on the next door?
I think in so many ways we get attached. We get attached to an idea, we get attached to a goal, we get attached to a person, we get attached to a vision, we get attached to how we think our life should look, we get attached to how we think things should be, and we get so attached, invest so much, and we can't see any other alternative thinking that we know what we want and we know what's right. And it's the attachment that creates suffering. And so when we get so attached, we don't realize that we are limiting ourselves. And we get so attached, we don't realize that we are putting limitations on ourselves and everyone and the universe. And so I think out of that attachment, we create suffering, and it becomes difficult to let go. It becomes difficult to get open. Often when we, in quotation marks, fail, because I don't really believe in failure, but when things don't go according to plan, or when we get rejected, or when things don't work out, we just think that we failed, or we have this illusion that we failed. And there's a tendency to contract, to collapse, to curse out the universe, to be depressed, to feel unhappy. When in truth, sometimes things not working out, go according to plan, or being rejected is really grace. It's really the universe redirecting you. But often when we're so stuck in the ego's identity, or the identification of ourselves as ego in this mind-body mechanism, we're not able to understand. And the ego is limited, that perceived sense of what we believe ourselves to be. And so we're not able to really understand and see the multiple possibilities of what is seeking to happen, the infinite perspectives, the different, unfoldings. We're just locked into, this is how it is. This is how it should be. And so we're not open, we're not available, because it has to be this way and only way. And so, I tell people, when things don't work out, usually something better that's seeking to happen that we're not able to see. When things don't work out, it's grace, it's the love of the universe. When things don't work out, or I tell people, thank God for the prayers that were not answered. It's easy to thank God for the prayers that were answered, because often it's only in retrospect, looking back 5 years later, 10 years later, that we're able to see and say, oh, wow, thank God. Like if everybody were to think about that person you fell in love with 10 years ago, or when you were 21 or 22 or early.
That you wanted to be with so badly, right?
You were so sure was the one. You were sure that your soulmate, they were the one. Mm-hmm. Now, 10 years later, you look back and think, what the hell was I thinking? What the frick? Thank God I was not with that person. But you were not able to see it at the time. And so the ego is limited, and often what we think we want is sometimes just what we think we want based on who we think we are. And often the goals that we get attached to are sometimes projections of unmet needs from childhood, the
Completely.
projections of unresolved things that if I wasn't loved at school, I wasn't loved by my parents, I didn't feel worthy enough. So if I can just get that Lamborghini and that house and that, nothing wrong with those things, but if I can get that, then I'm going to finally be enough like I wasn't when I was a kid. And so even the goals that we pursue are limited in a certain sense. They're arising from
Can I
ego.
share something with you on that
Yeah.
topic there, Coot? Okay, so I heard this recently to tie into what you shared. They said, are you driven or are you being dragged?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because when you're operating from past traumas and things like that, you're being dragged. You're not, you're not
Yes.
driven. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. And so many times we're driven by compulsions and impulses that are unconscious, and so you might achieve things, but you realize, wow, is this it? I'm not fulfilled. I'm not happy. And so I think that there's really like a few reasons why things tend to not manifest. And number one, and we sometimes interpret it as a rejection from God and the universe, but number one, okay, so if something doesn't manifest, I invite people to just step back, breathe, be open, and get curious. To me,
Mm.
curiosity is a key. Rather than saying, this means I'm not enough. This means the universe doesn't love me. This means God has abandoned me. This means I'm not lovable. No, it like step back and say, what could this mean? Step back and get curious to allow life to reveal what is seeking to happen. What more amazing thing is seeking to unfold? What beautiful thing is seeking to happen now? Like, let's find out. So when you're able to step back, then you're able to be open. Life can show you. And so when things don't work out, number one, it might mean the goal that you're pursuing is not authentically aligned with your higher soul's intention.
Ego versus spirit,
Yes,
right? A
yes.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just what you think you want, what you
Yeah.
think you should have. But it's not
Mhm.
authentic. Like, I want to win an Oscar. Well, why? I don't know, because I'm going to be loved. But it's not really you want to win an Oscar. It's just like you're driven. I want to marry Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's my soulmate. It's like I had a friend that said, I want to marry Leonardo DiCaprio. He's my soulmate. It's like, you might be a bit deluded. No, he's my soulmate. Of course, it didn't happen. So we want to look at the goal is not authentically aligned with your highest intention. Number one. Number two, I would say, and so what we have to do in that moment is step back and reconnect and listen to the authentic impulse. Number two, I think what we have to be willing to do, another reason things don't work out is it's just not time yet. It's just,
We
if,
need more development.
if you
We need more.
go, you might be
Yeah.
hungry and you go to the best Michelin restaurant at 4 a.m. in the morning. It's freaking closed. The best restaurant, 4 a.m., is closed. It's not God. It's not your astrology. It's not the universe. It's just the wrong timing. And so you can beat your head against the restaurant door and cry and curse the chef. It's not going to change anything. So you have to learn to understand the timing of things. Everything has a season. Everything has, and many times, because from the ego perspective, we want what we want and we want it now. So when the door's closed or we think we get rejected, it may not be a rejection. It just might mean no for now. It just might mean the time's not right. It's like if you go to a mango tree and you pick a mango because you want a mango, the mango's green, and you bite the mango, you're like, fuck it, I want the mango. You bite it, you chew it. It's hard. It's a hard, sour mango. And many of us, we are eating unripe dreams and living unripe relationships. It's just not time. So we have to learn to trust the timing of the universe. We have to learn to get ourselves in sync with the universe. We have to learn to trust divine timing and learn some
Mm.
patience. That's number one. Number three, you have not learned the lessons where you are with who you're with. To me, we are souls. Life is a school. Life is a university. Everyone is your teacher. Everything is your curriculum. And we incarnate into this human experience in order to learn, in order to grow, in order to evolve. That being the case, every moment is a lesson. And so all lessons are repeated until learned. And so when we don't learn the lessons where we are with who we're with, we kind of block the graduation to the next level or the manifestation of our goals. And so what we tend to do in those moments is like, oh, shit's not working, things aren't working, I got rejected, so let me force more. But if you force more in the wrong direction, you don't go to the right direction. You stay more stuck in the wrong direction. You don't manifest the next level. So when things aren't working out, it's not a rejection. It's just a redirection, forcing you to question, what is my soul seeking to learn? Why did I track this experience? What is it that I'm unwilling to learn? What is it I'm afraid to learn? What is it I need to see? Why did I track this situation in order to grow and evolve through? And so when we're able to learn the lesson where we're at, that's the key that unlocks the lock to the next level of our life.
Hey guys, just want to take a minute and say thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you're appreciating the content and that you are being uplifted and inspired. Please hit the subscribe button if you've not done so already. We've got so many more cool guests, powerful interviews, just raw truth being shared to uplift and inspire humanity. If you have not done so already, please follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It means the world to us as we continue to grow this channel and this platform to continue to spread positivity in a world that really is hurting right now. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world. God bless. Let's go. Okay, thank you for sharing. That was beautiful. I want to contextualize, Kute, if you don't mind, about your own journey, right? Because where did this show up for you as you were much earlier in your path? You know, were you? I know you released a book that did quite well. Were you knocking on publishers' doors and getting rejected? Like, you know, just contextualize a little bit of your own struggles with what you feel applies here.
You know, when I came to the US, I was 18 years old. I came to Los Angeles. I felt a calling to go into the field of self-help and personal growth. This was my passion. This was my love, you know, my calling in life, to be honest. I can share more backstory if you want, but to be specific to your question, I got this vision after being here a couple of years. I was 20 and I said, you know, I started watching Oprah. I'm like, I want to be the next Oprah. I'm going to be the next Oprah. And, you know, a lot of people say I did everything. I'm like, I did everything. People say they did everything and they did like 2 phone calls. I did everything. I basically went homeless, broke and homeless in pursuit of my dream. I was sleeping on friends' couches. I was scrounging for food. I had like nothing. Like I didn't know how I was going to eat some days, but I was so obsessed with this vision and dream that I was sure I was going to be the next Oprah. And maybe at one point I will be. But in that moment at 21, I was like, I couldn't see any other alternative. It was a level beyond attachment. Wow. And so I started to track down. I didn't know anybody in Hollywood. And I started to track down all the CIA agents, all the, I don't know if you know CIA, but all
of course, William Morris, CIA, the big guys.
I tracked down Richard Lovett. I tracked down Arnold Rifkin. I tracked down Jim Wyatt. I tracked down head of ICM. I tracked down head of UTA. I researched these people because I didn't know who they were. And I tracked them, you know, I tracked them down. I knocked on doors of, you know, hundreds of production companies, snuck into Paramount. I mean, tracked down Steven Spielberg in a soccer field, tracked down Arnold Milchan, you know, in a premiere, tracked down David Geffen, tracked down Richard Branson in a hotel in Century City. I mean, I got story after story after story, like literally hunted them down and, you know, harassed them on the street. I'm here, you know, and in pursuit of this TV show that I wanted to create. Because I wanted to inspire people like Oprah for the new generation at the time. And this was, you know, 20 years ago. And before the internet was really popular and stuff. And so I got so much rejection, man. I mean, because I wasn't famous. I'd go in, like, occasionally somebody would listen to me, you know, and like I was laughed out of rooms. Wow. I was kicked out of agencies. I was thrown out of offices. I was practically spat at, ridiculed. Had the police called on me, but I was going for it, you know, and I came very close many times. One time I managed to get a meeting with this guy, Merv Griffin. Don't know if you know Merv Griffin, but a legend. And his right-hand man was so impressed with me, took me to Merv Griffin, and Merv looked at me and said, man, I think you can be huge. And I'm like, let's roll. And he's like, but I'm no longer doing talk shows. But you have got, so there were some moments of getting really close as well, right? And I remember one time I was reading, doing my research, broke, starving,
Mm.
but obsessed with a vision, and so much rejection, man. I didn't know what it was to have success, as we talk about, and so rejection became the norm. And so I found these managers. They managed Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey, Dolly Parton, J Lo, DiCaprio, Backstreet Boys, Martin Lawrence. I mean, some big folks. And I said, okay, these are my guys. I wrote them a letter, handwritten letter, and they said, come in for a meeting. Like, oh, this is a moment.
This is
I'm
it.
not really thinking that they're going to say yes because I'm used to hearing no. I go in. They had just moved offices on Sunset. I walk in. I'm 21, man. I'm prowling the room like a tiger, and they're sitting on the floor looking. At the end of my 40, like straight pitch monologue to these guys, they look at each other and they say, "We believe you. We want to manage you. We're going to make you huge, and we're going to take you to Fox." And they just started coming up with the plan, and I was so excited, man. And they gave me a contract, bro. And they said, "Here's the contract, management contract. 20%, manage 15, whatever the management fee was. Come back tomorrow. We're going to start." I go home and I meditate.
Mm.
Damn meditation, man. And I meditate. In my meditation, I feel no. All I feel is this is not aligned with your soul. This is not aligned with your journey. My ego is like going crazy. My soul is like,
Wow.
no. And I know that whenever I listen to this soul, it guides me. When I don't, things don't turn out well. So I'm like, shit, this feeling has never led me wrong and it's telling me not to do it. So begrudgingly, I said no. And they were screaming at me on the phone. And I said no and followed my soul. That took me to walk the Camino in northern Spain, 900 kilometers. That took me to Israel to be with some rabbis. That took me to India for 3 to 4 months, which really cracked open an awakening. And it took me so deep on my spiritual path that I realized now that had I not gone on that spiritual path, I would not be and have the foundation to do what I'm doing today.
You wouldn't be this version of yourself, Kute, right?
At that age,
right.
21, it took me so deep to set a foundation for the work I've done over the last 20 years. And so I look at now and I can go, wow, I wasn't ready yet at that time. I wasn't ready. Like, had I gotten a talk show and let's say gotten my own show, I don't think I was ripe enough yet, to be honest. And Hollywood spits you out and chews you out and your career's over.
It's done, yeah, and it's hard to get that second wind is hard, right, in Hollywood, I feel like, yeah.
And at that time, I saw people getting talk shows. You don't hear of these people now. This guy got a late night show. I can't even remember his Chris something. I can't even remember the guy's full name. Chris Spencer. They're just bam and gone. And so I see grace, man. In 2000, so then I began coaching people after that. I came back from India. 10 years, I really started coaching people. I think it was about 2011 or so. I won't mention, but I met with a self-help publisher, top self-help publisher.
Yep.
Met with the CEO, and the CEO, I had been coaching people. I'd become quite known for my coaching process, transforming people's lives very deeply. And I kind of sold him on this idea of this book I wanted to write. And he said, look, it's great, but I want you to write this kind of book. And he outlined, he said, I want you to write a book about your coaching process. I'm like, you want to write about my coaching process? Basically, a methodology in a book is not going to transform people's lives, man. That's just like, he's like, this is what we want you to write about. You do this, you have a contract, we're ready to go. Everyone said, just do it, write this book so that you can write the book you want. And I said, no. And from 2010, 11, I said, I'm going to go and build my career and impact to the next level. And I went and built my audience. I went and made my videos. I went and put myself out there. And I built my career to the next, started my own events, started putting 300-400 people in the room. By 2015, I had built something interesting,
Wow.
without a book,
Without a major company, right?
without a major
Yeah.
company,
Yeah.
300 people, 400 people in my seminars on a weekend. It's not bad.
Not bad.
And that's when something interesting happened. I felt ripe. And that's when one of my clients invited me to an event. At the event, it was for the mayor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles. Sorry. Um, at the event, I was sitting at the table, and he said, this is my agent. You should meet my guide, my coach. He goes, you guys have to do something. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm like, I gave up whatever that means. Years ago, I gave up this Hollywood bullshit.
Yeah.
And he said, I said, oh, so I asked him, what's your deal? And he said, yeah, I'm a top guy for William Morris. Represent Tyler Perry, and listed off his clients. I'm like, I heard of Tyler Perry. And he goes, I've been hearing your name a lot. I think we need to meet.
Wow.
And a week later, I met with this guy at William Morris, and I was so unimpressed with the whole game. I've been rejected so many times. So I'm like, my attitude was like, fuck it. And we sat down, and he said, I've seen your stuff. He goes, I think you have a lot of potential to impact people, and I want to represent you. And that started a journey there, which then led to a book, which then led to going to New York. My first book, just so
Can I just ask for the gap in years though between? Remember, you said no. You were in that pitch room. Remember, with that big company, and you said no because you meditated. To the William Morris guy.
10
you're
years.
Speaking of how long?
About 10 years. About 8 years.
About 8 years. Okay,
Yeah,
that's a long time, Kute. That's
about
a long
8 years.
time. Okay,
about 8 years.
Wow.
The challenge is people in our Instagram culture want everything in a microwavable time frame.
Exactly.
We do microwavable success. If success doesn't happen in 2 months, if success
I'm
doesn't
out.
happen, but most of those people aren't around now.
Yeah.
Most of those people won't have longevity. Most of those people aren't in it for the right reasons. So the moment that the storm blows in life, the moment a pandemic comes, they collapse like a piece of china glass, because they don't have the soul force to be like, I'm in it for a purpose that is bigger than myself.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was never in it for money. I didn't care. I was in it for a different reason. And so I think when you do what is right and you do what is aligned, the universe will reward you, and you'll be around. You'll be around because you've done the work. You'll be around because you dared to climb the mountain, not take a helicopter to the top of the mountain. You climb the mountain step by step by step, fighting the altitude, so you develop the emotional, mental stamina.
The fortitude.
So I think
you need the fortitude to do it.
The resilience.
Yeah.
Bro, what God put me through, which many of us listening have been through.
Absolutely.
What God put me through, the rejection and the challenges and the heartbreak and the relationships and the betrayals and all of this stuff that I'm not going to bore you with, but it made me, let's just say, strong. It made me resilient.
It made you equipped for the mission, Kute.
It developed an inner depth
that
is beyond, because anyone can make nice Instagram videos. So what? But when the storm hits, will you be standing? And so God had to put me through some fire and some tests, And so by the time 2015 rolled around, and I'm with my agent, William Morris, and he's like, let's take your book out. I'm like, sure, let's go. So he puts me with the book agent. The book agent knows nothing about me and self-help. So my main agent, my book agent. Book agent takes me to, he's in New York, who said, let's go pitch some publishers. The guy pulls me aside and he says, don't be so, basically he says, don't get your hopes up, because publishing is not what it used to be. They're not giving advances. I said, you don't know the destiny that God has for me. Wow. Watch what happens, because this is not about me. It's bigger than me. This is God's time, God's plan, life's plan. And so we went into the first, and I just share this to give people hope that have been rejected, to give people hope that dreams didn't happen on their timeline. I went into that meeting. I went into 6 meetings with the 6 big publishers. The first meeting with Simon & Schuster. Before the meeting, now this is for a guy who's been rejected, right? Before the meeting, the CEO comes out She meets with me and my agent, pulls us aside. He said, before we go into the meeting, we brought the marketing person, this person, that. Basically, when publishers bring the whole team, that means they're here to play. They're serious.
That's a
They're
good sign.
They're here to do a deal. Okay.
Absolutely.
And she said, before we go in the meeting, I just want you to know that we're very excited about like doing this deal. We haven't even started the negotiation. We haven't even started the pitch. So basically, my agent looks at me and goes, this never happened before. They basically told you they want to do the deal.
Wow.
And so I was so used to having to pitch myself. And for the first time.
Did he waive his commission?
Because everything was aligned.
Yeah. Yeah.
The universe opens the doors. And I went into this first meeting, and it was not a pitch. It was just a exploration and celebration of like, how do we work together? Second meeting, the same. Third meeting, the same. Long story short, my first book then went into a bidding war, into an auction, and went into a bidding war. And when it goes to a bidding war, the numbers start going up: 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. It's like, who's gonna? And so my first book ended up being a multi. I'm not gonna say the number, 6-figure book deal for a first-time publisher.
Amazing.
And I just hope that gives people hope to never compromise your soul, to never compromise your integrity, to never compromise what God tells you, to never compromise your truth for money, for fame, for external success, because all of that will fade. But the truth of who you are is all that you have. And when you align and you respect yourself, your energy will grow, your soul force will grow, your vibration will grow, which will magnetize what is truly right for you. And that's what I did.
I got to say something on that. I feel like I've been actually getting more and more, how shall I say, rigorous, Kute, about ending friendships that have run their course, right?
Nice.
Yeah. And so it's unbelievable what has occurred in the last month when I've closed the door on a couple of friendships that have ran the course. I'm becoming a magnet for new opportunities and new things and new energy. It's crazy. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Because I know you're so in touch with like it's an energetic game. It's an inner game. I think we're taught when we're, especially in the Western culture, we're taught to work from the outside in when really we're supposed to work from the inside out. Are you with me? That's really what it is. Yeah.
So look, in essence, I would say the next level of your life requires the next level of you. And the next level of you requires that you let go of who you've been. And the challenge is what we tend to do is hold on to who we've been for a sense of comfort, familiarity, safety, self-preservation is the egoic strategy to not die. It's protection.
Yeah.
But you will have to let go of everything and everyone that is not aligned, that is no longer a vibrational match. And when you hold on to that which is no longer aligned, which represents also who you were, what we don't realize is we just keep ourselves stuck. We actually block our blessings. It's not Mercury in retrograde. It ain't God. It ain't the devil. It's you. It's me. We're blocking our blessings. And in life, you don't get what you pray about. You don't get what you meditate about. You don't get what you want. You don't get what you think. You don't get what you feel. You get what you are. And so when you hold on to things that aren't in alignment with who you are, that's an energy and vibration that kind of repels what you want. And so I would invite everyone to sit with okay, what in my life is no longer a vibrational match? What in my life is no longer authentic? Who in my life is no longer a vibrational resonant match? And who and what do I need to let go of? If you want to see miracles in your life, let go. If you want to see more blessings and abundance, joy and love in your life, let go, release of people, situations, things, objects, stuff. Yeah. I know people that say, I want to manifest my relation. I want to manifest a soulmate. But you got 4,000 pictures of your ex and exes and exes of exes and exes and your ex's dog in your iPhone. And you look at this stuff every day, keeping yourself energetically connected to your ex from 10 years ago and your first love. If you're serious, delete that stuff. Delete every X in your iPhone. Delete
Right.
every X from your file.
That's right.
Delete them.
That's right.
Clear the space. And the truth is, what are you doing just looking at the past X that you have? For what does it serve anyway, living in the past? It becomes a museum. We end up living in a museum of life rather than the creative art possibility of creating our life in the moment. And so the key to manifestation is letting go. Then you make space. Then you make room. Then you make room for life. Then you make room for God. Then you make room for the infinite. Then you make room for the creative intelligence. And that's when the magic happens. That's when the magic happens. So we often don't realize that holding on to that which is no longer aligned is actually our affirmation of our lack of trust in the universe. Where we do sometimes all of these great meditations and affirmations and prayers and law of attraction and Abraham Hicks, but we don't realize if I'm holding on, that is what I'm affirming. And so let go. I promise you, yes, it can be scary to let go because sometimes we think I'll never find love again. I'll never, it won't happen. And going into the unknown, you might lose people. Yes, it's part of growth. It's part of life. But whatever you lose in your life and whatever moves out of your life was actually not in alignment with your highest good in the first place. And whatever remains in your life, you can rest assured it's in alignment. And then whatever can now the space to come into your life will be a vibratory resonant frequency to who you are.
Amen. Nature abhors a vacuum. I'm sure you've heard this before, right?
Sure.
So you have to create the vacuum for the new things to enter. So
yes,
beautifully said. I want to talk about a recent podcast episode of yours. You mentioned something so poignant to me about your father, who's a very wise man, right? Very wise man.
Yes, wise and interesting.
Wise and interesting, we'll say. Okay, but there's one thing in particular I want to have the listeners today feast on, if you will, that I took away from that. Which is, you said, he would say to you as a child, Kute, why are you worried? Remember, life brought you here. God brought you here. You don't think that force, that intelligence is going to light the way, right, for you? Can you expound on that a little bit in your words?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what he said. I mean, as a kid, I would worry as a child. Oh, man, what about this? What about that? And he would just stop me and say, why are you worrying, man? If you didn't bring yourself here. I'm like, no, I guess you did, but something brought me here. He said, if you didn't bring yourself here, then what brought you here? And do you not think that whatever brought you here knows what to do? And so for me, I think as human beings, we've kind of lost touch with this innate intelligence. There's an innate intelligence inside of us. And we've disconnected from that innate intelligence for many reasons. But if you cut your finger right now, you don't have to pray. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to do some special ice bath, breath technique, super duper. You don't have to eat vegan. You don't have to eat any. You just keep it clean. There's an intelligence inside of you that knows exactly what to do and how to heal. And we don't trust. We don't trust this intelligence. Every day, the sun shines. Was there ever a day the sun didn't shine? You woke up one morning, it was all pitch black. And it was like, what happened? 2 p.m. Oh, sun just overslept. Never happened, not once. Every day the sun shines. So you could say, everyday life is proving to us, like freaking proving. We can trust it. The sun, the clouds, it's just happening. The seasons. You and I, we eat a piece of salmon.
Yeah.
For the vegans, you eat some tofu, tempeh, whatever, impossible something. You ate a piece of salmon. Goes into your body. How is it that your nose doesn't become a salmon? Your eyeball doesn't become a salmon. There's something, right, that knows how to digest and how to process and how to unfold everything inside. It knows, man.
Wow.
It knows. And we don't trust. Like something is living and breathing you right. It's like you and I having this conversation. Everyone listening, we're having this conversation. And we're not sitting here going, breathe. It's just breath is happening. In spite of you. You don't have to be a good person. You could be Pablo Escobar. It's just breath is happening. It's just going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is it that is breathing you? What is it that is digesting you? What is it that is coordinating the trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of cells inside of your body, knowing exactly what to do? What is that?
Mm.
That is what we are. That is the intelligence that we are. But somehow, because of our conditioning in our life and our traumas and all of that stuff, our ego, we so identified ourselves with this mind-body mechanism that we've kind of separated ourselves from the flow. When life is what we are, we trust Siri.
Mm-hmm.
Siri more than we trust our soul. Siri says turn left. How many of us question Siri? Okay, Siri, how do I get to Beverly Hills? Okay, boom. We don't even question.
Right.
Okay, turn left, turn right. We're driving. Siri could be taking us into freaking Afghanistan. We're just driving, bro. Siri's taking us into the ocean. We're just driving. But the moment your soul says, hey, write that book. No, me? I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm capable. I'm not sure. I don't know any agents. But your soul is telling you to write the book. You trust Siri or your soul? And so I think we have to learn to trust our soul. Tune into your body. Connect to your body. Feel your body. Scan your body. Be in relationship with your body and listen. Wow, there's a rhythm. There's a beat. There's a cycle.
Beautiful. 3 words. Meditation, meditation, and meditation. The attunement, right? To me, where do we get that attunement? We get in touch with that guidance by quieting. So I just want to say before we move on to the next thing, the ROI on meditation cannot be overstated. The ROI on meditation cannot. Are you with me, Kute? Are you with me?
Yes,
okay.
yes,
okay.
Yes.
All right. So then a lot of artists and creatives and entrepreneurs tune into the show. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. And so I want to talk about haters.
Haters.
Let's do a whole podcast clip on haters.
I like this.
Okay. All right. Please take it away. Your thoughts on, because that keeps a lot of us small.
Tell me more. What's your question?
Let's go with a more specific question. So what I'll say is, what keeps a lot of us small is we allow somebody's negative opinion of us. And listen, we all start out. Have you heard of shitty first draft? Right. A lot of writers talk about the shitty first draft.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It takes a minute. Even the best authors I've heard. Anne Lamott, Bird by Bird. Are you familiar with this book? It's kind of
I know. Yeah, I've heard.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. So she was talking about it. She's like, the best writers started out with. So as we're putting ourselves out there on the internet, growing, developing, doing our thing, getting better, that's a process, man. And if we allow that negativity that can kind of come our way in the process of becoming that mango that is ready to be eaten and will be delicious, we can interrupt that process through the negativity that may come our ways. Are you with me? So I just want to ask you, if you had to say in a succinct way, what is something people can hang on to when they're in their development, putting in the 10,000 hours, so to speak, right? And not getting off that track because of a negative comment.
First, get clear on your purpose, your intention, your calling, and get clear on the deeper commitment to what you are guided to express. Because your dream and vision or creativity, it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to God. It belongs to life. It belongs to the universe. You think you chose it, but it chose you. It's not about you. It's just choosing you to come through you because you're the perfect person to fulfill it. All of your screwed upness, all of your childhood, all of your quirks, everything you've been through somehow prepares you in your imperfection to be the person that can deliver this in the way that people can hear. So it's not about perfection, right? And so we think it's ours, but it's life's. And life is using you to fulfill itself and express itself and unfold its creative impulse through you. So first we've got to get that clear. So then our job is not to be the one that does it. Our job is to get out of the way. Just get out of the way and be receptive to be a vessel and a vehicle and obedient to bring it to life. because life will use you. And so that's one. When we don't attach to our sense of it's mine, it's me, it's my art, it's life's art. Who are you to judge life's art? Who are you to judge what life and God wants to express to you as terrible? It's like life's art. I mean, and what is art anyway?
Subjective. All of it's subjective.
I mean, one time I went to an art show in Venice Beach 15 years ago. So the best artists come to Venice. Okay, let me see what the best artists. $50,000. I mean, it wasn't like crazy amount expensive, but it's not like $200 art. $50,000 piece of art. And guess what it was?
What was it?
Trash stuck to a canvas. I'm like, I could be this. I mean, $50,000. I'm an artist. Yeah, but maybe the artist just had the obedience, the chutzpah, the whatever to say. I'm just going to do that and not judge it. And so we forget the haters.
Mm-hmm.
The haters are nothing. We are the ones that are hating ourselves. We are the ones that are judging ourselves. My art is not enough. The person who dared to put the trash, he's like, I'm not going to hate on myself. I'm just going to put trash out and just let it be what it is. That is total unhating. You understand? And so many of us were hating ourselves. This is not enough. I look too fat. My voice is not so good. I'm not a good speaker. My hair is this. My music is shit. My lyrics are terrible. No one's going to like my stuff. We're hating on ourselves. Forget the haters. If we were as kind to ourselves as the haters are, we would be in heaven. and so we are 5 times more hating than the haters. So first we have to own that and unhate ourselves and start saying, okay, it's not my work, this is God's work, and I'm just going to be the delivery person to the universe and stop being so hard on ourselves and hating the creation of life, right? So first we have to acknowledge, I'm the hater. You cannot control people's perceptions and opinions about you. Everybody has a right to their own opinion. The thing is, their opinion, and whether it's hate or what have you, however you want to interpret it, their opinion about you and your creativity and your expression reveals more about them than it does about you, because their perception of you and your art is filtered through the lens of their conditioning, their consciousness, and their current level of perspective that has nothing about you. Somebody can watch The Matrix and go, that's shit. Somebody can watch The Matrix and go, whoa, that was amazing. Incredible. One of my favorite movies is Vanilla Sky with Tom Cruise from years ago.
Fantastic.
Like, I watched that 4 times, like amazing. People are like, that was terrible. So was it terrible or was it good? It's like whatever level of consciousness you bring to it makes it what it is. So someone's perception about you reveals more about them than it does about you. So if you choose to take it personally and you choose to take on it's just their reality in that moment. It's not the reality. We have to learn to stop trying to control other people's realities and know what our reality is and stay true, not to the attached outcome, but stay true
let's
to
humanize
doing the
this
work.
For 1 second, Coop, because I think we have this base level need, right? This primitive base level need to be loved and accepted, right? Are you with me on that?
Yeah,
that's a primitive thing, right? Okay.
Sure.
So,
but we have to love and accept ourselves. That's the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no question.
But the challenge is this. Yes, we have this kind of need to be loved and accepted. So what we've learned to do from childhood is become who we think we need to be in order to get love, validation, and approval. I'm going to be the nice guy. I'm going to now betray parts of myself and become some other version of myself by developing a role, a mask, a persona, so that I can be who Samson thinks I needs to be. And I'm going to do this dance and put on this role and mask. Now I've betrayed myself. But the challenge is this. When you betray yourself to get love and validation from the world, and you become another version, then even when the world loves you and somebody loves you, and this is why a lot of entertainers are struggling and suffering and alcoholics and kill themselves, because even when the world loves you, deep down you will know that the version of yourself that they're loving is not the real you. And the love that you receive will not be satisfying, will not satiate you, because you know, like, shit, if they knew who I really was, they wouldn't love me.
It's not even you they're loving, Coot. It's not even you they're loving.
It's not real. It's not real love.
Wow.
You understand? And so it doesn't connect inside. So then we're always going to be seeking, because it's like eating food and there's a hole eating food and it doesn't stick.
Wow.
And that's where we get caught up in the game, and so I think we have to learn to be more committed to doing the work that is real, doing the work that is true, doing the work that is authentic, because that is what you can control. Being obedient to your soul, that is what you can control. What you think about, if you put something out there and 1,000 people read it, you're going to have 1,000 different opinions. At the end of the day, you're going to go home, and that's your reputation, which you don't really control. At the end of the day, you're going to go home, and in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., you wake up in the mirror and look in the mirror, and it's going to be you and you. That is your character. That is your own sense of self. If you cannot be at peace with who you are in that moment, you'll never be happy, even if 1 billion people love you. And so, yeah, haters are haters. And the truth is, you're always going to have haters.
Yeah.
You understand? You're always going to have haters.
To quote our favorite Oprah, I don't know if you've heard this Oprah quote, but she said, "You could be the finest, juiciest peach picked right off the vine, and there's still going to be somebody that hates peaches."
Yeah, look. Let's get real. Let's get practical for a second. Jesus.
Yeah.
What happened to Jesus?
Oh man.
They killed him. Put him on a cross. Haters. It's Jesus, man. Martin Luther King. Haters. Gandhi. Just trying to help people. Haters.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen. Here's the thing. Sometimes even when you put positive things out there, you're going to have haters, man. It's just life. Why? Well, it's not fair. It's just life. Because here's the thing. When you let your light shine, when you put yourself out there to the world, when you start expressing your creativity, sometimes also what starts happening. Here's the thing. It's not that they're hating you. But when you put yourself out there and you say, I'm going to just be magnificent.
Yeah.
For some people, that's painful, not because it's you. It's just that your magnificent expression triggers them to see how they're not doing that in their own life.
Yes.
And it's painful. Yes. It's painful to see Samson going for it.
Yeah.
Because whenever I look at Samson, it's painful for me to see how I'm not going for it. So it's easier for me to just like, hey, Samson, you're bullshit, man. Hey, Samson, your podcast is crap. Hey, Samson, to bring you down so that I can feel better.
Feel a little bit better,
myself.
Yeah, that's right.
So the hating is not personal.
Wow.
So that's how I had to learn. One last thing I'll say. That's how I had to learn to not take it personal. It's not personal. It's just they feel bad about themselves. And then, in fact, they're not living their own purpose. So they're going to bring me down to feel okay. And that way they do that is hating. It's limited for them. It's a shame. But if you stop shining your light to make other people feel comfortable, it doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve the world. So if you want to be free as a creator, as an artist, here's what. Unplug yourself from people's negative opinions because it's not real. It's not even about you. But if you really want to be free, unplug yourself from people's positive opinions. Because we also get hooked on that as well.
I know.
I want them to like. When you unplug yourself from both, then you stand in a transcendental free space. And that's when you become truly powerful, to be true, to live in integrity, and share your gift with the world without compromise.
Thank you for sharing that, Kute. Yeah, because I think that the nice comments, it's easy to be like, oh, that feels so nice, right? You know?
And we get addicted to that.
You do. All right, just a couple more to bring it home. That was fantastic. I also want to say, you're familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk, obviously, right?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, Gary V. Yeah, his whole thing is really about not listening to the haters. But he's got over 10 million followers, Kute. He made a whole thing on this, but I've never heard him share what you shared so brilliantly. I just want to touch on it again for the listeners, which is we're hating ourselves. You said never mind. That's secondary. Any hate from somebody else external is secondary. Yeah. We're hating on ourselves, Kute. That bears repeating. Okay. This idea came to me about the idea of paradox, right? So it is through discipline, right? Disciplining ourselves that we find freedom, right? We actually
Yeah.
become from, I just, what are your thoughts on the ideas of how life has these different paradoxes? I don't know, just want to put that out to you. And just, and
Yeah,
yeah.
I think life is paradox. We live in a world of interdependent. We live in a world of infinitely valid, I would say,
Yeah.
but simultaneously contradictory realities inherent in the nature of life. Life is not black or white. People, you'll see all these videos online, Instagram, what have you. Is this way? Men should be this way. Men should always, women should always. And while some of that might be, it's never black or white,
Mm.
because there's nuances and there's gradients and there's 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 fluidity in life, and the ego is not rigid. Man should always, women should always. It's like, but there's also nuances in the flow, and so the real freedom is not in the either or. The real freedom is in the end, and I think it's like, yes, we are all divine, infinite beings, and we're human.
Yeah.
But if we just be, I'm just divine and infinite, and so my pain, I'm not going to feel my pain,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to feel the heartbreak, and I am immune to all feelings. It's like, well,
No, you're human.
not really, right?
Yeah.
But if you just get lost in, oh my God, my heartbreak, and you get lost in the human experiences, and you forget that you are an infinite being. And so it's the paradox of like,
Wow.
we are infinite and we are souls, and we're also human, and the freedom to hold the both and feel the both is where it's at. Life is a movie, so it's like going to a movie, and we go to a movie, or we see Tom Cruise jumping off a bridge, blowing up a city. We're like, yeah, go Tom Cruise, blow them up, kill them, shoot them, yeah. But because we know it's a movie, right?
Yeah.
Right. The moment we saw somebody in real life like blowing up a Coca Cola can over there, they blow up a Coca Cola can. Oh my God! But we go to the movie because we know it's a movie. So somehow we know it's a movie, which frees us up to enjoy the movie, and that's part of the paradox. So I think when we can remember that we are
Wow.
souls having human experience, it frees us up to be in life, but not all of life, and have some freedom.
You mentioned all these great spiritual authors, right? The Wayne Dyers and everybody that you were reading growing up as a kid. And so there's this leaning into the spiritual side, which is what our default wants to do, some of the people that are in the spiritual community, right? Which, a lot of these people. But pragmatically,
Everything, look, since time is short,
yeah,
everything is spiritual for me.
everything is spiritual.
Everything is spiritual. And the illusion is that, well, when I'm on my yoga mat and I have my candles and my incense and doing my mantra, that's spiritual. That's holy. But when I'm walking downtown LA, like, that's not spiritual. When the truth is, all of it's spiritual. What is spiritual? We have to ask ourselves the question, what is spirituality? The guy that is certified yoga teacher, Reiki teacher, who does Kundalini yoga, went to India 4 times, but is cheating on his wife. Is that spiritual? Oh, you can read the Upanishads and you can quote the Bhagavad Gita, but you're cheating on your wife, bro, having an affair. Is that spiritual? Really? You abusing your child. But you read the Power of Now 6 times and your pineal gland is open. I don't give a shit about your pineal gland. I don't give a shit about what food you eat. I don't give a shit about what clothes you wear and your macrobiotic diet. For me, you want to talk about spiritual and life. How do you live your life? How do you show up every day? Are you your word? Are you on time? Can you be kind? Can you be kind to those around you in moments? How do you treat the person in the grocery store? How do you treat that person, walking that looks a bit crazy, that is acting weird on the street? Oh, so yeah, you had a nice Shaktipat meditation. That's great. But in front of you, in front of me, in front of us, like, okay, you saw God in a nice ayahuasca ceremony. So what? Because if you can't see the divine in your wife, in your child, in that person that is clearly suffering, acting out doesn't mean nothing that you saw the blue light in a ceremony tripping out in Machu Picchu. Nothing wrong with those things. Don't get me wrong. But I want to bring a groundedness to this whole spiritual thing. Is spirituality is how you live your life every day. Can you be kind? Because none of that means anything if you're an asshole. None of that means anything if you're not being kind. Kindness is real spirituality.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I've met some of the most spiritual people that have been the unkindest. I don't consider them spiritual. And I've met some of the people that like they didn't know anything about, like never read a book, never read Chopra, never heard of Wayne Dyer, never heard of nothing. But the way they lived their life and the way they showed up. Hey, Kute, do you need something?
Yeah.
Hey, Kute, it's Easter today. Would you like to come over? We cook you dinner. And you know, I've had some of my spiritual friends that they never offered to buy me a freaking cracker. You know, they didn't offer to buy me a cup of matcha. And so what is spiritual? It's the generosity of your heart, how you live your life moment to moment. It's the ability to see the divine in all things. So for me, when I hold my newborn child, who's 16 weeks old, and he cries, it's like, oh, recognizing, oh, wow, it's God that is singing to me through his voice right now. And as I change his diapers, it's like, I'm serving the divine right now. I'm serving a manifestation of the divine in this form right now because everybody is God. And I think that's what spiritual is, you know, to wrap up, is living love in every moment of life to the best that we can. Not perfection, but the best that we can.
Amen. The last thing, I'll just add one thing to that, which is the vilification of money. Kute, I'm sure you're from that. Like, so again, the guy in the Ferrari could actually be doing more good for humanity, lifting more people up than the guy in the broken down van who's an asshole to everybody. So somehow we got to not vilify money and material.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, how you live your life.
And then, okay, so you got the Bali event.
I mean, look, before I wrap, just to say something about that, like vilify money. Money is just energy. Money doesn't mean anything. It's how you use money. It's like vilifying electricity. Ooh, electricity's bad. It's just electricity. It's how you use it. You know, it's how you use it. And the truth is, one thing I realized about money, because I never cared about money for most of my life. And then I went back to Ghana, where I was born, and I saw a friend of mine who has an orphanage. She has 300 children. And I had an epiphany a few years ago where I realized I can't feed these children with meditation. Hey, beautiful children, I'm going to pray for you.
They need food. They need food.
They need food, bro. They need food. And I can't go to Whole Foods. I can't go to Air One. I can't go to Sprouts and say, I meditated for 20 years of my life. Can I give you some of that currency into your like meditation, crypto meditation account? It's like, they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, we want some cash. We take debit card, credit card, MasterCard, Visa card. Keep your meditation somewhere else. I'm kind of joking, but what I realized is to do good in the 3D world, you need money. And so long as you have a right relationship with money and you understand money, it's no issue. It's your relationship with money.
It's actually, you could fulfill God's purpose, I want to say, in a better way with money. Yeah, so there you go. Okay, so thank you for sharing all the gems you shared today. There was multiple mic drop moments, I'd like to say, Kute. Talk to us about, the Bali event. I know that's coming up. And then also you're ending it. So maybe just, a quick sentence or two on why the last one. Okay, please.
Look, all I'll say is if you're listening to this conversation, and this may be your sign, if you're listening to this conversation and you've been ready for the next level of your life, if you listen to this conversation and you feel that you've been put on the planet for a purpose that is bigger than yourself, you know it and you feel it. It's burning inside of you. If you're listening to this conversation and you're tired of reading the books and you're feeling like, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to unstuck, unblock myself. I'm ready to free myself of the patterns of conditioning that have stopped me. I can feel my potential. I can feel how much love is inside. I can feel what I'm here to give. But sometimes it just doesn't always come out at the highest level. And you're like, I'm done. I'm ready to do what it takes to connect to my power and be used by life and share my gifts. And if people want to connect otherwise, Instagram, Kute Blackson, Facebook, Kute Love Now, my podcast, Soul Talk, my book, The Magic of Surrender.
Amen. Thank you for sharing your magic with the world, Kute. Go check him out, everybody. Phenomenal human being doing great things in this world. Thank you. We'll see you down the road, Kute. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you guys got a lot out of this episode. I know I did. We'll see you back for the next one. Peace.